When Kody Brown thought his tears would once again dominate the spotlight, Christine stepped in with a powerful move that left fans stunned, the cameras rolling, and Kody completely overshadowed. What began as another emotional outburst quickly turned into Christine's moment of triumph, and viewers can't stop talking about it. In the world of reality television, where family drama fuels ratings and emotional breakdowns often dominate the screen, the story of Christine Brown and Kody Brown has once again become the centerpiece of national conversation. Yet this time, the twist is undeniable. Christine, who once lived quietly in the shadows of her husband's complicated polygamous marriage, has not only stepped forward but has effectively overshadowed Kody in the most dramatic way possible. With cameras capturing Kody in tears, attempting to hold on to the spotlight through emotional appeals and endless grievances, Christine's resurgence has made it clear that the era of Kody being the central figure in the sister wives narrative may finally be over. Instead, audiences and headlines alike are focused on Christine's voice, her strength, and her ability to rise above years of being sidelined. What makes this moment so remarkable is not just the image of Kody breaking down. His tears, his trembling voice, his desperate attempt to control the story, but the way Christine managed to take command of the narrative at the exact moment he tried to seize it for himself. Reality television thrives on power shifts, and this shift is one of the most defining in the long history of Sister Wives. For over a decade, Kody positioned himself as the central patriarch, the leader of the family, the man whose word carried authority in every household. But Christine's recent rise, her independence, her charisma, her ability to resonate with viewers, has dramatically rewritten that script. The situation unfolded in a way that shocked even seasoned fans of the series. As Kody sat before the cameras, his voice heavy with self-pity, he attempted to frame the family's unraveling around his pain. He wanted viewers to see his tears as evidence of his sacrifices, his love, and his heartbreak. But instead of sympathy, audiences saw something different. They saw manipulation, dramatics, and a man trying desperately to cling to relevance in a family that had long outgrown his control. Christine's voice, by contrast, rang with clarity and empowerment. She did not need to cry to be heard. Her strength was her calmness, her refusal to crumble, her determination to move forward with dignity. This contrast between Kody's tears and Christine's resolve has now become one of the defining dynamics of the Brown family story. Social media lit up instantly as fans declared their support for Christine, praising her for stealing the spotlight in a way that was not about drama but about growth. Where Kody appeared trapped in a cycle of anger, grief, and self-absorption, Christine embodied resilience. She became the heroine of the moment, the figure audiences wanted to follow, leaving Kody to grapple with the painful realization that his emotional displays no longer carried the weight they once did. But to truly understand the gravity of this moment, one must revisit the long road that brought Christine here. 4 years, Christine lived as the third wife in Kody's plural marriage, often overlooked and frequently dismissed. Her role was that of the peacemaker, the one who smiled through the pain, the one who quietly carried the burdens of raising children while struggling with feelings of loneliness and rejection. Viewers watched as Christine expressed her frustrations, particularly over Kody's favoritism toward Robin, yet she rarely received the empathy or validation she deserved. Instead, Kody often brushed aside her emotions, labeling her insecurities as her problem rather than acknowledging the imbalance in their marriage. This imbalance grew starker as the years passed. The more Kody gravitated toward Robin, the more Christine felt unseen. The marriage crumbled in small, painful moments, missed birthdays, broken promises, dismissive comments. Yet even as she struggled, Christine retained her warmth, her humor, her ability to connect with fans. That connection ultimately became her lifeline. Fans related to her vulnerability, her honesty, and her willingness to say what others in the family would not. Over time, Christine's voice grew louder, while Kody's insistence on controlling the narrative grew increasingly hollow. When Christine made the bold decision to leave Kody, it marked one of the most dramatic turning points in the history of the show. It was not just the end of a marriage, it was the reclaiming of a woman's identity, independence, and self-worth. In the aftermath, Christine's life blossomed in ways viewers could not ignore. She moved to Utah, embraced her children, built new traditions, and eventually found love again with David Woolley. Every step she took forward was a step away from the shadow of Kody, and every step was cheered by audiences who had long hoped she would break free. Kody, meanwhile, struggled. His attempts to maintain control of the family narrative backfired as wives left one after another, exposing the fractures he had tried to hide for years. His relationship with Janelle grew bitter, his bond with Mary collapsed entirely, and his favoritism toward Robyn became so blatant that it alienated not only his other wives but also many of his children. The man who once prided himself on holding a sprawling family together now found himself presiding over ruins. This is why his recent breakdown struck such a chord. Kody's tears may have once inspired sympathy, but in the current context they felt like the desperate act of a man who has lost his grip on both his family and the audience. He wept not just for what he lost, but perhaps for the loss of control, the loss of power, and the realization that Christine had emerged as the true star of the show. The contrast was too sharp to ignore. Kody in tears, begging for attention, while Christine moved forward with grace and confidence. The reaction was swift and unrelenting. On Twitter, hashtags celebrating Christine's strength trended almost immediately. Fans posted memes comparing her radiant smile to Kody's tear-streaked face, with captions declaring that Christine had won not only the breakup but the war for the spotlight. On Facebook fan groups, long posts praised her for embodying empowerment, for refusing to let Kody's tears drown out her voice. Even entertainment outlets, which often thrive on amplifying dramatic breakdowns, shifted their coverage toward Christine's strength rather than Kody's sorrow. In many ways, this shift is emblematic of a broader cultural movement. Audiences are increasingly less willing to sympathize with male figures who weaponize their emotions while ignoring the pain of those around them. Christine represents the opposite of that dynamic. She does not demand sympathy through tears but earns respect through action. Her story resonates with viewers who have felt silenced in their own relationships, who see in her journey a mirror of their struggles and triumphs. Kody's breakdown, by contrast, feels like the crumbling of an outdated patriarchal model that no longer commands the respect it once did. This power shift has profound implications for the future of sister wives. The show was once anchored around Kody's ability to manage multiple households, his vision of polygamy as a grand experiment in faith and family. But that vision has collapsed, and the new story is Christine's journey toward freedom. Producers undoubtedly see this, which explains why Christine has been featured so prominently in recent seasons and specials. Viewers tune in not to hear Kody cry but to watch Christine thrive. The fact that she has found happiness outside of polygamy, with a man who openly cherishes her, only adds to the sense that she is living the life she always deserved. As for Kody, the challenge now is whether he can redefine his role in the narrative or if he will remain trapped in the cycle of self-pity that currently defines him. His tears may grab attention in the short term, but in the long run, audiences are less interested in his pain than they are in Christine's progress. The headlines reflect this shift, as story after story frames Christine as the star while Kody fades into the background. The symbolism of Christine pushing a crying Kody out of the headlines is not just about one moment on television. It is about years of build-up, years of quiet suffering, and years of waiting for the chance to step into the light. It is about the power of resilience and the way audiences respond to authenticity. Kody's tears may be real, but Christine's strength is even more compelling, and in the world of reality TV, compelling always wins. What makes this even more fascinating is the ripple effect it has on the other wives and children. Janelle, who has long shared many of Christine's frustrations, now stands firmly in her corner. Mary, who once held out hope for reconciliation, has also walked away. Children, many of whom have openly criticized Kody, continue to rally around their mothers rather than their father. This collective shift only amplifies the sense that Kody's reign as the central figure of the Brown family story is over. Christine, meanwhile, continues to embrace her newfound freedom with joy. Her social media posts radiate happiness, filled with pictures of adventures, family gatherings, and moments of love with David. Every post is a reminder that she is no longer bound by the constraints of her past, and every post further cements her place as the fan favorite. It is no wonder that audiences have chosen her over Kody. In the end, the image of Christine pushing a crying Kody out of the headlines is more than just a tabloid-friendly moment. It is a cultural turning point in the ongoing saga of the Brown family, one that signifies the end of Kody's dominance and the beginning of Christine's reign as the voice of strength and resilience. Fans have spoken, the headlines have shifted, and the message is clear. This is Christine's story now, and no amount of tears from Kody will change that. The world of reality television thrives on raw emotion, complicated relationships, and the kind of drama that unfolds when cameras catch every glance, every tear, and every explosion of truth that people try to keep hidden. For over a decade, Sister Wives has been that show for millions of viewers across America and beyond, offering a deep, messy, and often heartbreaking look inside the polygamous marriage of Kody Brown and his wives. While the series began as a project to showcase a large plural family navigating life together, it has slowly turned into a chronicle of collapse, betrayal, healing, and ultimately reinvention. And in this unfolding saga, Christine Brown, once relegated to the background of her husband's attention, has now emerged as the undeniable star of the story. Recently, a pivotal moment in the series and in Christine's own life has sparked a massive reaction. In what fans are calling the most emotional and empowering turn of events the show has ever seen, Christine stole the spotlight entirely, leaving her ex-husband Kody Brown in tears. The rawness of the moment and the contrast between their current realities, Christine thriving, Kody floundering, has electrified viewers, sparking viral discussions online and fueling endless debates about accountability, freedom, and self-worth. With every episode and every confession, it becomes more evident that Christine is no longer living in the shadows of Kody's dominance but instead shining brightly on her own terms. This transformation did not happen overnight. For years, viewers watched Christine struggle to find her place within Kody's polygamous household. Though the premise of Sister Wives was meant to highlight harmony in plural marriage, the reality was far messier. Christine, who joined Kody as his third wife, often felt overlooked, dismissed, and treated as though her needs were secondary to both the man she married and the rivalries among her sister wives. The weight of rejection was heavy, particularly as Kody's affection increasingly favored his fourth wife, Robin. For fans, Christine's struggles were heartbreaking to watch. Her open admissions of loneliness, the way she often described herself as unloved, and the visible strain in her face became symbols of a marriage that had broken down long before cameras were rolling. But the Christine who now commands the spotlight is not the same woman viewers met over a decade ago. Today, Christine is stronger, more confident, and unapologetically herself. Her laughter rings louder, her words carry more conviction, and her choices reflect a woman determined never to settle for less again. This journey of growth and liberation, culminating in her stunning rise as a fan favorite, has reshaped the dynamics of Sister Wives and shifted the balance of sympathy in the show entirely. Turning point came when Christine finally made the bold choice to leave Kody and the polygamous lifestyle behind. That decision, once unthinkable, has since been celebrated as the most empowering storyline in the series. When Christine declared she was done with a marriage that left her spiritually and emotionally starved, fans rallied behind her with a tidal wave of support. Social media lit up with posts praising her courage, her honesty, and her refusal to live in the shadow of neglect any longer. Hashtags like #TeamChristine trended, memes highlighting her radiant smile after separation went viral, and forums exploded with threads analyzing every word of her interviews and every detail of her new life. But perhaps nothing crystallized Christine's journey quite like the recent emotional moment that saw Kody reduced to tears while Christine basked in newfound strength. For years, it had been Christine who cried on camera, Christine who pleaded for affection, and Christine who admitted to feeling inadequate. Now the roles were reversed. Kody's tears, once rare, were suddenly a public unraveling, a stark contrast to the confident woman he had lost. Viewers described the scene as cathartic, not because they delighted in Kody's pain, but because it symbolized a long-overdue shift in the narrative. Kody's tears seemed to reflect more than just sadness over Christine's departure. They revealed the deep cracks in his image of control, a control he once wielded so freely in a family that revolved around his decisions. For years, his authority was rarely challenged, and even when the wives voiced discontent, it was often dismissed or minimized. Christine's departure shattered that dynamic, proving that Kody's grip on the family was not as unbreakable as he imagined. In the aftermath, his emotional unraveling came across as both raw and unprepared, highlighting just how much he underestimated the strength Christine had gained in silence. Meanwhile, Christine's glow-up continues to inspire fans. Not only has she physically transformed, losing weight, radiating health, and embracing a bold new style, but she has also emotionally and spiritually flourished. She is no longer tethered to the idea of proving her worth to Kody, and that freedom has opened a new chapter in her life. Her social media pages, once subdued and polite, now burst with joy, confidence, and candid snapshots of a life lived authentically. She posts about adventures, shares moments with her children, and beams with happiness beside her new husband, David Woolley, whose love and partnership stand in stark contrast to what she endured with Kody. Fans often remark that Christine looks decades younger since leaving, as though a weight has been lifted off her shoulders. The rallying of fans behind Christine has not gone unnoticed by the broader entertainment world. For years, reality stars often struggled to maintain relevance after exiting their shows, but Christine has bucked that trend. Instead of fading into obscurity, she has risen as a beacon of empowerment and resilience. Interviews with Christine now draw huge audiences. Her every statement is dissected for meaning, and her presence dominates discussions about sister wives. For many viewers, Christine has become more than just a reality star. She has become a role model for self-respect, independence, and the courage